right, who wants to go over what happened last time? Don't everybody talk at once.
Um, well, we discovered a bunch of stuff in the ship, um, including that possibly this company was double dealing with Republic and Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, and we got some information on that, and we have some like data pads that we can look into as well. And they had really shitty cybernetics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we found uh the a part of the hyperdrive and then schematics for finishing it up, and then also some other random schematics. And we fought another guard droid.
Got a little bit
um,
fucked up by them in the process.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Asked
yeah. A
you to
little
hit
bit
me.
fucked up. I became a medic for that time. Um, and now did we are we we're in the process of heading out. We decided we were gonna leave.
Yeah. So you guys have headed back out into the desert, heading back towards the city. Both because you weren't sure there's really anything left to find on this ship, and because you're under a couple of different deadlines, one of which is already going to be overdue, essentially, and the other one which is pressing down on you very, very rapidly. First is the lady that you got the Void Walkers from, which you've ridden out into the desert to get to the ship. It's going to be very mad because you are already bringing her animals back later than she said you should. And then the hut that runs this town has given you a deadline to essentially bring him the head of the rival gang leader, or the deal with the Republic is off for the fuck. Why did I just forget the fuel source name? Rhydonium. Um, so you guys start heading back out into the desert, heading back towards the town. It does take you a full day of riding, and then you have to spend overnight to then get there the next day. So you all will be able to go ahead and heal as appropriate for overnight. Full night's rest. You get one wound, and you fully recover any strain that you may have been dealt. And then, of course, now that we have our medical droid back, she can do any healing that she deems fit. If you want to discuss that first before you actually hit town.
Who actually needs healing at this point?
I believe Joe's character is the worst fucked up.
Nah, he's fine. Who else needs healing?
Yeah, Joe
Yeah,
definitely needs some healing, and
Nah,
then
he's fine. Who else needs healing?
I need. I'm at 6 wounds out of 11.
Oh, you boss! You get all the free healings. Here we go.
All right, hit me, hit me.
Okay. So I'll use a stim pack on you, and whenever I use a stim pack on you, you get an additional 2. So one shot of this ought to bring you back up.
All right, so that's 6 total, or is it 5 total?
I believe one uses 5 and it goes down,
Oh, okay.
right?
yes,
So 5, 4,
yes.
3. So 7 total.
Awesome. If this were a fighting game, I'd have gray HP.
Yeah, so that the stem packs, it starts at 5 and it goes down with each subsequent use. Once it is down, it takes 24 hours to fully recover.
Oh, so they can recover.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're invincible. I have 15 stim packs.
See, the question is, though, is that you're going to have to stop shooting to use them because it does take essentially your action to
Mm-hmm.
actually use them. So your choice is shoot with the big gun or heal when it comes down to it. But
Um, is Galatea still fucked up? I remember.
I am at half currently.
Okay, because I did take the droid technician and we got a repair kit
Oh,
from the
thank you.
ship.
Are you gonna
So
shoot me up with that good oil? That
yeah.
good monkey grease?
Um
Hell yeah.
it says to do a mechanics check for this and that I get a +1. I get I heal at 1 additional wound.
okay. You see here, you said repair kit. Da-da-da. So the repair kit itself, you have the rules for this. You can write it down, Jen.
Yeah.
You can apply it up to 5 times. Every single one of those patches will heal 3 wounds on a droid.
Okay.
All right, and then you can
So
make a mechanics check to get additional through your droid repair abilities.
Okay. Um does the repair kit recharge or is it a one-time use thing?
Um, technically, it does not recharge.
Okay.
That's the trade off for it doing the same amounts every single time.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I will just stock up on repair kits when we get back to civilization.
So if
Okay.
you're wanting to do an additional mechanics check, you said you're about half health, gal.
yeah, I'm
So,
7 out of 12.
so that'll be with 2 purple
Okay.
mechanics.
Ooh, triumph.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you'd get to do the 3 from the repair kit, and then how I like to do it for like just repairing things and healing things, your triumph will count as 2 healing,
Okay.
and then
Alright. I
you
am maxed
have
out.
okay. So it's you
Okay.
have to have the success. Each additional success after it is going to be 1 additional HP, and then the triumph is going to be 2 HP, and then the repair kit.
Okay.
So you can mark down, make sure you've marked down, both of you, where your equipment stands as far as next healing
Yeah.
and how many uses you have left, Jen.
Yeah.
And then we shall continue on to the city. So you all spend another cold, windy night out in the middle of the desert. Now that you know what it was coming in the middle of the night, you know what to look forward to. It wasn't quite as harsh. It was still not pleasant. The city folk in the group are missing their nice warm cabins and beds, even if it's just on a starship. But you eventually do make it back to the town the next day. It's mid morning, heading towards noon, heading towards lunchtime, when you actually manage to make it back to the crater. First, you see the kind of shimmering, heat waved vision of the palace and the few buildings that sit at the top of the crater, coming through the desert on the horizon. And then as you get closer and closer and closer, you start down the more and more well trodden path down into the crater proper, and are immediately meted by the electro gate. Um, I want Mercy and Risha
Mm-hmm.
to roll me perceptions.
Okay. With 2 purple.
Yeah, with 2 purple.
Oh,
Okay. So, as you all are heading down into the crater, Marcy and Risha, you both take notice across the canyon. So, you guys are essentially down here by the electro gate, is where you're entering. In the opposite side, you have the 2 landing bays and the space control, the opposite side of the crater. All 3 are buildings that the space control is actually built into the cliff face and is higher up on the cliff face. The other 2 are just tall enough that they poke over the top of the crater. But you all notice, or the 2 of you notice as you're coming in, because you're a little bit more tech interested, tech savvy about things, and like ships to some extent. On the top of the crater, seemingly because the 2 other landing bays are closed or have ships in them like your own, you see a kind of worn out shipping starship, that wasn't there before. So you both assume that it is something new, something that has arrived in the past couple of days since you've been gone. Risha, you're just perceptive enough that when you take notice of it, you kind of squint, and you can't really make out a whole bunch of specifics, but you can see a couple of kind of shadowy figures scurrying around underneath it. Some seemingly perhaps fixing it or checking on the ship's condition. Some seemingly heading towards the long stairwell down the crater into the city proper. And
Pointed out to the group, just
okay.
Sure hope those fellas ain't involved with this ship that we just left from.
Oh, I was thinking it might be one of the Empires because they're supposed to be here soon, right?
Might be both. Those guys were working with the Empire.
You want to fuck them up?
Not right now. We can't roll up on them like this. Have you seen my outfit? I'm covered in sand and blood.
Right, you're right. Let's go get you changed and then come back here. We'll come back here and fuck them up.
Oh boy. I had one session of peace. One session.
One blissful session of peace.
And now you're back. So you all start heading down the long path into the crater proper, and as soon as you get close enough, the electric gate is opened for you. The guards seemingly recognizing all of you and recognizing that you need to get back into the city, not wanting to bother you too much. Whoever thinks they might be paying attention to the guards can roll a perception at 4 purple.
yeah. Yeah. You know. Always wary of law enforcement.
Especially hut law enforcement.
Yeah. Oh no. Well.
But Risha, you don't notice jack shit. Iffy, yeah, as you're going past the electro gates, you're always a little bit more attuned to whispers and conversation around you. And you kind of hear 2 of the guards off to the side that kind of leaned up against the wall, very casually, not seeming to be standing on any type of formalities or anything. They're talking to each other very, very quietly, and you hear kind of murmurs about, oh, Clarel's really pissed off at them. It's gonna be fun seeing what that happens. And a little bit of murmuring again, and then as you're moving past fully with the group, yeah, you heard they're arriving in 24 hours. We gotta get the fuck out of here. I don't want to be here when they arrive, and that's about all you hear.
Interesting. I'm assuming that those guys are the Empire, but it might be good to confirm a couple of these things. I will see. I want to follow up and find out if anybody here knows if Clarel has any hobbies or something that we can try to play to placate her slightly here. But I feel like we should confirm the Empire first and then confirm the stuff with Clarel.
I think promptness is appreciated by her.
Yeah. So you think we should go straight to her then?
Yeah, if she found out that we like meandered around the city after coming back late, I feel like that'd be even worse.
You know, that's a good point. That's a good point. So then let's head straight back into the ship and see what we can do here. We'll head back to Clarel after we've, refreshed ourselves.
Okay, so you're going to the landing bay first, and then going back to the Voidwalker stables.
I was gonna go.
We might
straight
just go to the straight stables, yeah.
So I will remind you that you are coming through here. You have to get all the way back up here to then come back down here.
That's a good point. You might see us too. Might feel like, why is that giant woman riding right by me without acknowledging me? Yeah, so let's head straight to the stables.
Okay. So you head back to the Voidwalker stables. And much like last time you were here, you see a couple of Voidwalker hands and trainers and caretakers in this large corral area. Some cleaning, some seeming to be tending to the Voidwalkers. A couple of Voidwalkers on with reins and saddles and such, seemingly being trained. Initially, they all are kind of small, so you assume they're younger ones. And you see Clarel and somebody else. This looks like a older Mirialan man. Both at the fence, kind of watching, arms crossed, talking very quietly to each other. And as you come around the corner, you see the older man catch sight of you guys first. His brow raises. There is a very quick flash of amusement, and then he quickly ducks his head towards Clarel and excuses himself and scurries off into the corrals. And as soon as he excuses himself, that seems to notify Clarel that there's something going on, and she turns. Her eyes land on your group. You can see her very quickly do a once-over on all of her animals, and then her gaze pins you, Iffy.
I'm gonna offer the most, placating, winning politician smile I can. Somewhat sweating behind it. Still a mess. Hey, Clarel! How's it going?
You are late.
Well, I am. But you see, it's for a real good reason.
Mm-hmm. Or is one of you dead?
Dying.
Nearly.
Hmm. Well, you should have brought them back dead for me to actually care.
I can do that if you'd like.
I mean, if you want Gal to kill somebody for you, even this out, she will. But look, what happened was we got caught out there. These other animals came to attack us. We wanted to make sure that these void walkers were safe, you know, because you care about them so much. You stressed to us that we should look after them. So we had to stay an extra night, make sure we weren't going to get attacked.
So you're telling me that you got attacked, and rather than just take my babies home where they're safe, you decided to stay an extra night out there with the animals that attacked you to make sure they're safe?
And when you put it like that, that just makes it sound terrible. But at the time, we thought to ourselves, you know, there's these other shapes. They're somewhere around us. We didn't know where these creatures were coming from. We figured that if we tried to head back at that time, you know, we were already pretty exhausted by then. My droid, she'd taken a hit. The fellow over there, that guy, he'd taken a hit. What were we gonna do if we got attacked on the way back? We couldn't do nothing. It was better to lick our wounds and make sure that we could look after them on the way back.
Your eyes narrow. And let me see here. You'll do a contested check on. There's not persuasion. I forget.
Forget
On.
what opposes persuasion to.
But you'll do charm.
All right.
And then use 4 purple.
Okay. Sounds about right.
Yep. That's what she has.
We would not qualify Clarel here as a government institution, would we?
I mean, the way she's acting.
She is
She
a
is-
very
1 second,
protective,
got a phone call.
possessive stable owner.
She's an
Yeah,
institution in the city, though. People know of her. Clearly, enough to gossip, right? Right?
Nice trying.
I won't even ask to upgrade because we don't have any light side points. Alright, so here comes a charm check. Did that?
That just balances out. You got exactly nothing is what you got.
You know, I feel like it's uncommon for that to happen in this system, but it's happened twice to me recently.
Clarel just narrows her eyes at you, and you can see her arms where they're crossed across her chest kind of like tighten just a little bit. She's very clearly not buying your bullshit. But as she looks you over head to toe, she starts to move, kind of like pacing to one side then the other. At first you think, okay, she's just annoyed and starting to move. Then you realize she is sizing you up. Not in a I am going to fight this person way, but in more a way that you are familiar with in kind of the halls of aristocracy and politics, but in a much more blatant manner. She just kind of pauses after a moment, stops in her track, and lifts her chin slightly. You're one of the Republic's goody two-shoes, aren't you?
Goody two-shoes? Goody two-shoes? Gal, get a load of this. She called me a goody two-shoes. Alright.
My voice box is a little fucking up right now, but believe me, I'm playing the laugh track. And she like opens her mouth and you can just hear like an 80s laugh track.
The
Audience.
Clarel's eyebrow raises, and she looks where she had a moment of like pause and consideration. She looks pissed again. Well, I was going to
Look.
offer you a way of working off your debt pretty easy, but apparently you're not going to be interested in that. So, She
Yeah,
turns.
just there a day late. Calm down. Get your head out of here.
Gal,
Just a day
gal,
late.
gal, gal.
She's
It's okay. It's okay.
getting her cyber panties up in a twist just because we're a little late. Jesus.
Yeah, but think about it, gal. If somebody was taking me out and returned me a day late, wouldn't you be pissed?
Well, first of all, I don't see anybody taking you out anytime soon.
Yeah, but theoretically, in this thought experiment, if I was on a vacation and I returned a day late and I wasn't answering no messages or nothing, wouldn't you be worried?
Well, my program does not let me be worried, boss. I just know you'll be back when you're
I
back.
I didn't give you that module?
Nope, I do not have this caring functionality of which you speak.
I gotta get on that. My point is,
Ooh.
she's right to be concerned. I would be too in her position, which is why we're gonna hear how we can try and work off this debt here. Cause
Fuck.
I get it. I get it.
You already got enough on our plate, boss. We gotta go, do what was it? A minor gig?
We gotta go do a couple things.
Got like a
Yeah,
2-day deadline before we get murked,
we
so
got a couple day deadline. Yeah, but we can see if we can work something out here. And worst come to worst, I can put in a good word over it with my higher ups, and we can see if we can work something out.
oh no, I think she'd be happy. Just we prioritize the bed safety if you catch me.
You want to know how breaking contracts is handled around here?
Not really.
We
Last
start
is-
taking limbs first. Any of you care to give one up, or do you want to actually shut up and listen for a second?
By all means, let's hear it.
And Krill nods. I happen to have two youngins that were family of mine. I need to get off the planet. Their grandparents on Ord Mantell. Drop them off back there. We'll call it even.
If he sticks out a hand. Sounds like a deal to me.
She examines your hand for a moment.
It's probably like extremely sandy, even though she's tried to clean it.
And she slowly takes your hand with a very firm shake, but at the very last second kind of pulls you a little bit closer so that she can talk to you very directly.
Jealousy
If
raises
they
her
don't
blaster.
get where they're supposed to, I promise you I will have people hunting you down through the ends of the galaxy. We understand each other.
Perfectly. You got nothing to worry about. Smuggling's practically my middle name.
It's true.
Clarel just kind of sizes you up again and then nods and lets your hand go and takes a step back. Send them to your hangar by the end of the day. Make sure they get there safe.
We will. We'll install, the kitty grade hollow chest too, so they have something fun to do.
She just kind of snorts and shakes her head. And she starts speaking in another language. And quickly there's a couple of helpers that come scurrying out of the stables and start taking the Void Walkers. If you guys have not taken your shit off the Void Walkers yet, they very poignantly just unclip your shit and let it fall to the ground. And take the Void Walkers back into the stable, start cleaning them, and start taking care of them and getting them rested and recuperating after carrying all of you out to the desert and back. But Clarel seems satisfied for the moment, and
So
with a last kind of look over all of you, she kind of jerks her head back towards the city and turns away.
I definitely gave my Void Walker a little bit of a heartfelt goodbye.
Just told the fuck off.
I like my featherless chicken thing.
Giant ostrich thing.
Yeah.
So, like, as Iffy, Gal, and Clarel were talking, Risha was in the background having a soft lighting goodbye with the Voidwalker.
Yep. Pretty much. I was like, you guys can handle it.
So, you guys have been relieved of your Voidwalkers and have made a deal with Clarel, for better or worse.
I
What are
still
you guys
say we
doing?
should've told him to fuck off, boss.
We can't go telling everybody to fuck off. Besides, smuggling is what we do. We know it like the
That's
back of our
literally what you
hand.
did to like half the Haitian.
Maybe I miss it after being sequestered in a dark, broken up ship and shot at. Maybe I miss a little smuggling.
Alright, fair enough, boss. Fair enough. But if she threatens you again, I'm gonna shoot her.
No shooting people unless I tells you to shoot people. We've been over this.
Calthea just doesn't say anything.
You want me to install the carry module later, or are we just fine with how she is?
Error, fuck's not given.
We might need to look into that, but let's make it through the end of the day. We got a lot to do.
Yeah.
I think now that we should head back and clean up because we got to figure out what we're doing about this fucking hut.
Oh god.
Okay, so you all head back towards the docking bay. And I believe last time you did make a deal with the handyman there to try and get a couple of things fixed up that
I
were
believe so, yeah.
easier to fix up. So you all come back in and you see that there's one mechanic in the base kind of still tinkering on your ship. There's a couple of droids helping him out, seemingly finishing putting on some of the hull pieces that you all need to leave the atmosphere a little bit more safely. It's not pretty. For what was at one point a very pristine kind of diplomatic barge. It now has a nice little patchwork going on its underside right now. But it looks like more or less what has been done will probably hold up until you can at least get it repaired somewhere that has a few more resources and a little bit better tools at their disposal. So it's a patch job, but it's a working patch job. And you all want to go onto the ships and refresh yourselves and regroup.
Yeah, shower sounds nice.
Yeah, sounds like a
Yep.
good idea.
Refresh and regroup. That sounds good.
Alright. So you all go back onto your ship. It still looks exactly how you left it. Doesn't look like there's been anybody that has really dared to come onto the ship since you guys have not been here. You all kind of go your separate directions, take a couple of quick showers, wash your faces, change out of the clothes that I'm sure have sand in indecent places. And it takes about an hour or so for everybody to kind of come back out and group in one of the common areas. What are you guys planning on doing?
All right, fellas, let's talk over the plan.
I say we go
Have a
fuck the
plan?
hut up.
We can't just shoot up the hut. Do you remember how armed to the teeth he was?
That just makes it more of a challenge.
Yeah, but not. I don't think it's a challenge we can surpass right now.
Do we want this deal to go through?
I ain't fond of the idea of staying on this place much longer, but we need this Rhydonium. And if I
Easily
mess,
built a hut when we kill the other guy. You know.
yeah, and we don't know what kind of fire they're dealing with either. Wanted to go talk to him, but I don't know if we're gonna have time. Besides, we can't exactly go in there guns blazing either. We'd have to finesse it.
Yeah, we don't know what we're walking into. Gave us zero information about the game.
Yeah, that's part of the trouble. Maybe we should see if we could get some information about him.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at that. Sorry.
I can handle that.
You
People
find me a
are talking to
computer.
me. Yeah, Risha, why don't you see what you can find on the Hollow Net, and I'll see what I can try and find out there on the streets.
Is that possible for this planet? Do they have?
Every place has got streets. You gotta be street smart. That means you
No,
gotta have street.
I know they have streets. I was more of doubting their tech capabilities and
This is more of a road kind of place.
Road smart.
road smart.
I mean, there's
Or-
always pretty much every planet that is going to have settlements of any size is going to have some sort of kind of localized internet, localized HoloNet. How much is on it, and if it has easy or wide access to kind of the galaxy-wide HoloNet is a different question. But if you want to start trying to dig around and see what you can find here, you are more than welcome to try.
Yeah.
I think
I'd like
that's a good plan. We'll have Risha try and find HoloNet stuff, and I'll hit the mean streets.
Okay. So, we'll start with Risha. You being in the hangar bay are able to kind of almost link up into a quote unquote type guest internet, guest HoloNet for the city, and start looking around. Your initial introduction to this HoloNet space is that it's very much hut run and controlled. And pretty much all the easy things for you to get to are focused on the various places to drink and buy things in the city. And then there's a little bit of information about a couple of other settlements on this planet that are very, very small compared to this one. But that's all you initially find. You want to continue to look for things, you'll have to tell me what you're looking for and or how.
Oh God. What was the name of this gang again? That I
This is the
Haxian
brood.
Brood.
Axiom Brood. Alright. This is my I don't know what alien plants would they don't it's not like they have social media accounts.
No, there's not any social media, but there are. There's generally you can find kind of like community boards in various places to kind of see what chatter or news has been going on in a community. And then there's also going to be like your general like news bulletins, quote unquote. Although because this is essentially a hut controlled, semi controlled planet and a hut controlled city, there's not so much news as, and you would be aware of this just in general, it's not so much news as kind of hut propaganda and threats. that get published.
Yeah. I'll I guess try going on more of the community boards in order to try to see just like what kind of business I guess is the best like what they kind of business they like show up in a lot more.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So, uh, for this first check, you'll need to do computers, with 2 purple, and then you'll do another computers with 4.
Okay.
Okay. So, you start digging around. And at first, you don't find anything specifically about the Haxian brood. But you keep digging and keep digging. And eventually you find a couple of kind of announcements, and little bits and pieces of seemingly largely deleted, but still there's remnants remaining of things from Timo regarding the appearance of, so this was a while ago at this point, the appearance of a gang suspected to be the Haxian Brood in the city. And the insistence that nobody interact with them, nobody help them, unless they want a series of very unfortunate, very painful things to befall them and their family. After those initial couple of announcements seem to be kind of coming over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, there's nothing for a while. There's nothing at all from Timo that you can find. Knowing where to start from that, though, you kind of go back over to the community boards and start picking through and finding a couple of keywords that you can put in and then dig through. And you find that there's a couple of people that seem to vaguely reference things that you think might be the Haxian Brood at work without ever directly saying anything. You see that these are moments where particularly important people in the city are getting killed. That ships that were supposed to bring dignitaries and merchants to negotiate with Timo are shot down before they hit the city. That there's been once or twice where they've even caused collapses in the mines to slow work, and just seemingly everything is either to knock down Timo a couple of pegs or annoy him or hit him in the pocketbook.
Okay. So they're kind of doing just small
Uh,
like attacks.
they're very targeted. They are not necessarily small.
Yeah, I meant like it's not like they're doing like a large scale.
Well, that's all you can find.
Okay. Okay.
This is all conversation between people in the community that are kind of referencing these things, but you get the feeling that they're not saying a lot or being very careful about what they do say so that they don't get dragged into anything.
That makes sense. Okay. Okay. That's helpful. We know obviously how violent and they're um also can I wonder if they shot down that ship now.
You know, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a general gist of okay, murderers. Got it.
And of course, I guess I will remind all of you in case you don't remember. You all already know the Haxian Brood is a, at this time, still fairly small, but rapidly growing kind of galaxy wide gang that is primarily made up of um, heavily augmented, heavily cybernetic people and droids that are either designed to be bounty hunters and violent or have broken away from their control chips and their original programming to become gang members, bounty hunters, and otherwise kind of violent.
Okay.
You know,
Oh.
given that there were all those prosthetics on that ship, maybe those were going to the Brood and Timo shot it down.
Or they knew that they were bringing in cybernetics, but then they would have taken them by now.
Interesting questions we got here.
Hmm. Either way, there sounds like they're gonna be fun to deal with.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Okay, anything else you want to do, Risha, before I swap over to Iffy?
Um, like I would love to get my hands on like one of their more personal devices, but I think it'd be hard to track down.
I mean, to get a personal device from a brood member, you would have to find a brood member.
Yeah, I meant like like if gain access it through the holodeck, but I feel like given how controlled it is, it'd be hard to find out.
I mean, you can try. It'll be a very, very hard thing, but the dice might roll in your favor if you choose to do it. But you will be rolling a red die in order to do it.
Yeah, I'm concerned about leaving too many trails with it, I think.
Okay.
And getting their attention before we're ready.
Well, what's your slicing skill?
I can do like bypassing security and breaking codes right now.
Oh, I
Um,
mean like yellow green wise.
oh, well, okay, so it'd be with computers. So I have two yellow and one green.
Two yellow, one green versus a red. You have
It'll be a
all
couple
right,
purples too.
red and a couple purples.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, I would take those odds, but I'm a mad lad.
Yeah.
Sure. You know what? Fine. Fine. We'll try it.
Look, if you roll a despair, you can blame me.
Yeah, yeah.
All
I'll
right.
take a fall, I guess.
So it'll be two purples and a red. Mm. It's a failure and a threat, but at least you didn't roll a despair.
Yeah.
Said
Yeah.
you spend
So
some
if they
time.
pay attention, they'll.
So you go
Hey.
digging and you can't find anything, and you're kind of diving deeper and deeper down just random rabbit holes. You feel like you're just like need to beat your head against the desk at this point. Um, and you know that you have done a couple of things kind of sloppy.
Mm-hmm.
you're too frustrated and too tired to actually go back and try to fix them because you feel like if I go back, I'm just going to end up like making things worse at the moment. So you just leave them and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, how bad could it be? It's not like the DM has 4 dark side points and we have no light side.
It'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I do beat my head against the desk. I say I'm done. I'm done with these backwater towns. It's so hard.
Get me back to a proper fucking city.
Okay, yeah, that's all. That's all.
Just ended up with an entire group of nothing but city people. And I'm dropping you in like the most backhole place I can find.
Learning
Wonderful.
experience.
Alright, so we will swap over to Iffy. Iffy, and you head out of the ship and out of the hangar, kind of leaving Risha to try to dig through things on her own for a bit. Um, Tell me what you're doing, where you going.
As I recall, let me see if I remember this right.
Move back over to
Were
the side.
there? Oh, thank you. Let's see, there's one cantina there. I feel like I remember there being 2 cantinas, or at least 2 things we could have gone to, but I might be
Yes.
remembering that. Oh, there are?
Yes. So they're
Awesome.
not all like not everything is labeled on here because they've expanded upon this map. But
Mhm.
there's the original cantina you went to over here past the water tower,
Mhm.
and then there's the cantina down here that you've not gone to.
I'm gonna hit up the cantina I have not gone to, and I'm gonna try and see, uh, while schmoozing, if anybody. Well, firstly, I guess surface layer. If people seem to like the Brood more than they like Timo, or if they like Timo more than they do the Brood, try to get a feel on that situation because I think that should also factor into what we do here. What the people who live here think about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they have any other information on the Brood that we can get more broadly after that.
Okay. Give me
Especially if I
just.
could find somebody who like either works for them or something and schmooze them up. I think that is what I would like to aim to do.
Okay. Give me just 1 second to get a couple of things adjusted over here. Okay. So you start heading over to this cantina, and this one is still the kind of old fabricated buildings that you see all around the city and that you're kind of used to seeing in the kind of more far-flung reaches of the galaxy. But this one is notably a little bit more well kept than the other one you went to. The looks like there's been efforts to try and keep the dust at bay and out of the cantina past the entrance. The It looks like there's been attempts at kind of wiping down the tables and the chairs every now and then. It all is worn and kind of pockmarked by use. But there are little signs of attempts. And as you walk in and you look around the crowd, you see that there is a little bit more people here than there was at the other one. It's roughly about the same time of day when you come into this cantina as it was when you walked into the other one a few days ago. Um, However, when you walked into the other one, you were kind of struck by the initial impression that this was the kind of working man miners cantina. You walk into this one, and most everyone here is a little bit cleaner, a little bit more well put together. Their clothes are less working overalls and like, beat up jackets and such, in more fashion, but like fashion from 2 decades ago. So you kind of get the feeling, just because of how accustomed you are to reading social circles, that these are probably more of your hangers on to Timo. There's a couple of guards
Interesting.
around, couple of mercenaries, maybe, just judging by the amount of weapons that you see visibly on them. And you see a couple of dancers up on the stage, and an actual singer. There's not just a jukebox like the other one, but there's an actual singer. And still very low key. It's middle of the day. People are hot and tired, just kind of really there for the drink more than anything else. But there is people about, and a couple of people playing cards, a couple of people watching the dancers. Most of the people either kind of sitting with their cups or engaged in conversation. I can change this. What would you like to do?
It's mostly Timo's joint. Gonna have to change the approach. Um, if that's the case, then I think the smarter play is acting as if I'm going along with Timo's request and acting on their behest and uh, trying to get more information about uh, maybe the Brood's numbers here, past skirmishes with them, etc. I think that's probably smarter if these are Timo's folks.
Okay.
So, gonna hit up the mercenaries, I guess.
Alright. So you kind of look around and look specifically for mercenaries. You see what looked to be kind of a pair of Weequay, decked out very clearly in kind of their desert gear, and a couple of very heavy blasters strapped to their backs, and maybe some vibroblades of some sort kind of hidden on their belts. You can see the hilts, but you're not quite sure what the rest of the weapons look like. They're sitting together at a table, just kind of talking quietly to each other, seemingly completely disinterested in everything else going on around them. You also see a very old, for a mercenary, looking Twi'lek man with scars, and you're pretty sure like one of the ends of his leku, the very tips of it, has been scorched and burned pretty badly. And kind of the gruff, grizzled just gives you the impression that he is pissed at the world type look. Has a mercenary band symbol on his jacket that's very, very worn, almost hard to see for how worn it is, that you recognize as being a mercenary symbol from a different part of the Outer Rim. So he's running with a band of some sort. And then you also see a lone human that you think might be mercenary, might be personal security. You're not quite sure. They look a little bit more put together than the others. A little bit more in what was fashion at one point, but they still have some heavier blasters strapped to them. One rifle that has very clearly has a scope on it. And they are kind of watching the dancers very intently from the center of the dining room.
My inclination is to either talk to the Weequay or the human. What do you guys think?
Whatever you think you can get talking the most.
Let's see about the human.
Okay. So you walk over to this human. Do I have a token for this guy, or did I forget to do that? I would have forgotten to do that one. Just enjoying that this particular sound group has jazz playing. Makes me happy. It's also very not good for ADD.
I get that.
Where's my word con shit? There it is. So you said you're going over to the human?
Mhm.
Okay. Nope. That's not gonna work. Nope, I don't have a character token for him. But, as you get closer, you see that this is a middle-aged human or near human, with a kind of dark, heavily tanned skin, and dark hair that has been cropped very short, almost in a military cut, but seemingly not quite that strict, but close enough that you give me give me a cool check with 2 purple.
Cool check. All right. Let's see what we got there.
Okay. So, you are fairly certain he's probably had some sort of military or, like, formal, police or guard type security training at some point with how he carries himself and kind of the way that he is keeping himself up. The clothes that he wears is something that you would not be surprised to see in the kind of middle class gambling halls and racetracks in the inner rim, from probably about 8 or 9 years ago. It's definitely not the height of fashion anymore, but it's, acceptable, passable. And his equipment, his weapons and such, is old, but maintained. But as you walk up, his eyes kind of drift away from the dancers towards you. And there's just kind of this, like, slow blink. Almost like a processing of, like, okay, is this person actually coming my direction? And when he is certain, yeah, this person's coming my direction, there's just a sigh. And you see him shifting his seat a little bit, sit up a little bit straighter, and take a long swig of a beer, essentially. And as he sets it down, he doesn't look at you again. It's just like, what'd you want?
Can I buy you a drink?
Well, if you're buying, then you have as long as the drink lasts. Deal?
Sounds like a deal to me.
Alright. You can spend a credit to buy him a drink.
I will spend credit to purchase drink.
And you kind of wave towards the bartender and motion towards him, and a couple seconds later you see this little, like, single-wheeled droid with a serving platter held up high above its head wheel through the cantina, kind of weaving between and under tables even, until it gets close enough, and it just kind of hops up and manages to just pop the drink right off of the serving tray, and it just lands and slides across the table, and the Mercenary reaches out, picks it up, examines it for a second, and then nods and kind of points the neck of the beer towards the seat opposite from him. And doesn't say anything else. Just lets you sit and lets you talk.
What's your name?
Even.
Even?
Even.
Well, I don't know if you heard of me. There was a bit of a commotion the other day over at Timo's palace.
I heard there was near about a scrapped droid.
And near about. You know, we're still working out the kinks, but she just gets so protective, you know?
Just kind of this non-committal grunt. And he starts slow swallows from this beer.
Well, seeing as I was working for Timo, and this is Timo's joint over here, I figured you were the people to ask if I needed any intel.
Depends on the intel you're looking for.
You ever scrapped with the brood?
And there's a pause. And he kind of locks onto your face again. He's been looking at you, but kind of with this disinterested, like, attention span. But at this point, there's a little bit more of a glint of curiosity. And he looks for a second. And then turns his gaze away, kind of looking past you, back towards the dancers behind you. Once or twice.
What can you tell me about him?
Annoying bastards that like to blow shit up.
From what I heard, they're a small outfit over here, ain't they?
Small enough, but when you're nothing but droids, easy to get around the desert. Or easier, I suppose.
That how they usually attack then? Setting up, driving through the desert, setting up some explosives.
And he takes another slow drink. Why do you want to know?
Oh, if the lady was considering rolling up on them, it's best to be informed, ain't it?
You think you can handle the brood?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. But you see, Timo wants ahead. Timo's got to get ahead.
This will get you 2 different responses, so you'll have to go ahead and pick which one you want to roll.
Oh boy.
You can either do a streetwise, or you can do a charm. Both will be at 3 purple.
Streetwise or charm? Let's see. I think I'm gonna go with charm.
Okay.
Does this man count as a government official?
I'll say for the purposes of this planet, kinda.
Downgrade difficulty. So, is it just removing dice at that point? There's no reds.
Usually, if I say if you're downgrading a purple, it gets shifted to a black.
Okay. Well, then it gets shifted to a black, and then I remove the black. So I have kill with kindness. So that works out perfectly then. And then it's charm, so that's 2 yellows and 2 greens. Right? And here we go. 4 successes.
This is what happens when Iffy finally gets to talk.
He's kind of good at it.
So you say that, and there's just like this like little tiny ghost of a smile of amusement, and he just shakes his head. Timo's been after that head for years now, and it's gonna be after it for years still.
So you figure there's nobody on this here planet can take that guy down.
Either nobody can, or he's not even on the planet.
Huh. Think it's a remote operation?
Ain't seen head nor tails of somebody that's really worth being called a boss.
So what, it's just small town jamokes whenever you get to them?
When we happen to get them. Nothing but lower level droids with big explosives. Either the ones in control are really good at hiding, or they're getting their orders some other way.
You know anything about, Okay, out of character here. I'm trying to figure out a way to ask about, like, maybe there's some sort of, I don't know, like, reception towers or something that might be sending them orders. Would that be a thing I can ask about? I guess, I don't know if you would know.
Yeah, it's something you probably could ask about. However, you would know that, like, if he is just a standard mercenary that's just been hired to help, it's unlikely that he would know. That would be something Timo's actual kind of government and helpers would have access to. Everybody else would not be super aware of.
Alright. Let's see then. If they're off planet, I wonder. Okay, alright. So, if they're not even here, then what are they doing with this Rhydonium? Where are they shipping it?
He kind of see him tilt his head slightly. You're not 100% certain if it's him thinking or if it's him getting distracted by the pretty Twi'leks behind you.
I can't blame the man for that.
And he is quiet for just long enough where you're like, yeah, he's not fucking paying attention to me anymore. But then he finally speaks. I don't really know what they do with the Rhydonium. Period. A little bit more concerned with not getting shot when I'm dealing with them to focus on what they're doing with anything they have.
You know, I don't blame you for that. Getting shot as a way of rearranging your thoughts. Let's see. Do you guys have anything else you think we should ask? If they're mostly just like droids with explosives and they're not even on the planet, that does raise a lot of questions.
I don't think of anything, sorry.
Yeah, same.
Socializing hard. I just like to go to somebody and press the A button on my controller.
Yeah, you know, it can be tricky. So, let me ask you this: Has the Brood? I mean, what do they do around here besides attack Timo? Do they actually do anything for folks?
There's just kind of like this flash of annoyance now. And he kind of sets his bottle down with maybe a tad more force than needed. And he looks at you kind of dead in the eye again. Look, girl, I don't really know and I don't really care. There's some people that seem to like him. There's some people that seem to hate him. They're around to piss off Timo, which for the people that don't like Timo, great. They're also here pissing off Timo and making it worse for the others.
I getcha. All right. Look, one last question. I'll get out of here. If I was to start sniffing around, maybe looking to see how these people operate, you got any idea where a gal could go? Some kind of warehouse, maybe, where they get the explosives. Maybe there's some kind of droid manufacturing joint around here.
Mm, give me a streetwise with 2 purple.
Oh, streetwise. Where the fuck is streetwise? There it is. 3 green. Well, that's a roll.
So he kind of runs a hand over his head for a second and closes his eyes. Oh. They like attacking the mines a lot. They may be there, but you may also just get caved in if you're there. Otherwise, droids need fixing, don't they? Try some of the mechanic shops and junk shops. I'm sure they got shit that they buy there.
Right. Well, thank you for your time.
He just kind
I-
of grunts.
I will buy him another drink on the way out and rejoin the party, conveying what I have learned.
Okay. So you buy him a drink on the way out and head back out of the cantina and into the city.
Mhm.
And I assume you all coordinated on a meetup point of some sort. Or a meetup time.
That would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So you're back out in the city, and I'll say you kind of all meet out in front of the landing bay where your ship is. And share when information has been discovered. What you saying, what you doing, where you going?
Hello.
Do we want to capture Joe up?
Fucking my dude.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt while you were doing the thing.
My dude.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you missed some things, but baby.
Can you hear that?
Yes. Babies. So I guess we can take a 10-minute break for the rest of you guys while I catch Joe up on where he needs to be.
Sounds good.
There.
Alright. 10-minute break for the rest of you. Joe is trapped. So they got back into the city. You did get 1 night's rest, which means that you heal 1 wound, heal all strain that may have been gone. And then I guess you can discuss with Piper if Gal actually healed Kane or not.
It's fine.
Oh, it's fine.
You say that, but you also got like 1 hit last time, so healing is
It's-
needed.
Fine.
He's fine.
Got back to the Voidwalker stables and had to deal with a very annoyed Clarel, who has no near.
Wait, what's her problem?
You guys are late.
Oh. Well,
It's whiny.
I don't know what that's like.
It's whiny.
And so she has managed to garner a promise from Iffy that you guys will help smuggle a couple of kids off planet to Ord Mantell. to avoid her causing some shit for y'all in the city. And the kids will be there at by the end of the day at y'all's ship to get off planet. There was also seen by Marcy and Risha a new ship, a cargo ship of some sort, up at the top of the crater because there's no space in the landing bays right now.
Ah.
Then Risha uncovered a little bit about the Haxian brood, and Iffy uncovered a little bit about the Haxian brood through their various means and methods. That's where we are story-wise.
What is a Haxian brood?
Haxian brood is the other gang that's kind of going
Oh.
against Teemo, and the Haxian brood is at this point kind of small. It's galaxy-wide, but by like galaxy-wide gang standards, smaller up-and-coming gang that is made primarily of heavily augmented people with cybernetics, like more machine than person, and droids that are either designed to be kind of violent and bounty hunter-ish, or droids that have broken out of their kind of away from their controlled ships and such, and have become violent and bounty hunter-ish.
Okay, so it's augmented cyborgs and droids.
Yes.
Would it consist of ganks, even though they're kind of a separate thing?
I mean, there might be a couple of ganks in the Haxian brood, but largely not.
Okay.
Because ganks kind of exist as their own society with their own concerns and issues. So, I mean, they're adjacent. They might be friendlier towards each other. But you wouldn't see a whole lot of ganks. It's by far more droids.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the other thing is that I was going to go ahead and get you started on the last mechanic specific to your shit that you're going to have to keep up with, because I told everybody else at the start of this, you guys are rapidly approaching kind of the end of this beginner area mission quest thing. And at the end of it, you will have your ability to completely redo your characters, to rework your characters, to swap to a new character, whatever you feel is needed. So if you want to just play with things right now, you can. You'll get a chance to respend your XP if you want it. But because of that, I am introducing the last couple of mechanics. First is obligations, which they've already rolled for. You don't have to roll for it this time, but it'll be between sessions. I will ask for D100 rolls, and it will trigger obligations. The very, very last thing we will do in this beginning quest thing is going to be the starship battles. It's going to be a very, very tedious, long session.
Cool.
So be prepared for that, because starship battling in this system is really good in concept, not so great in how the mechanics actually are put forward. I do some homebrew stuff that make it a little bit better, but it's very hard to understand the first time or two that you play it. It gets a little bit better after that.
Okay.
So you can expect that in a couple sessions. But you have to start keeping track of your morality.
Yep. Yeah, there it is.
It's because you are now at a point where you have enough XP that you could get force points or force abilities. You may already have stuff that tells you that you need to be using force points for things, and rolling for force things. So it's time for you to start keeping track of your morality. How morality works, that's going to be on that first page of your character sheet. So your character info section, next to your skills and everything, you scroll down, and morality should be the last kind of section on there. I believe you were at 50, because you didn't go above or below.
Yep. I am at
So
50.
what you have to keep track of every session is conflict. conflict resets at the start of every session.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the session, depending on the choices you make, depending on some of the RP that you do, you may gain or lose conflict. And I will tell you how much you gain or lose. So, if I say, okay, you just earned 10 and you're going to put 10 on there, I said, okay, you just earned 5 from that one. You're going to add 5 on top of that. Or, maybe subtract 5 and you'll subtract 5 from that.
Gotcha. Is conflict always bad to get a lot of?
So what happens is at the end of the session, before you log off for the night, you and I will sit down. We will roll. So your conflict will add up. You'll look at the total of your conflict, and then you will roll a d10.
Okay.
And you will compare the result of that d10 to the conflict earned. If the number on the die is less than the conflict you earned, you're going to subtract it from the conflict and decrease your morality. So if you had 10 conflict and you rolled a 5, you're going to subtract that 5, and the 5 that's remained, you'll subtract from your 50 and end up with 45.
Okay, so I'm not gonna get really, really high morality or conflict points, right? It's not like I'm gonna get 20.
It depends
Unless
on
I
what
fucking...
you. Yeah, it depends on what you do, because there is things that everything. There's kind of a scale, a chart that's like, okay, things like this are only gonna raise conflict by 1. Things like this will raise it by 5. So depending on what you do, depending on how fucked up you decide you want to be, I have seen somebody earn 30 conflict in a session.
Why God?
Because they wanted very desperately to be bad and just have a crash into the dark side moment. With how you're playing Kane right now, I don't expect you to earn super, super high. I imagine you'll probably 20 would be the max for you, and that's if you had a really, really fucking bad day. But it is possible for you to earn more.
Interesting.
It just depends on your side. If the die that you roll, so if you roll that d10, if it's more than conflict, you'll subtract the conflict from the die result, and you will add to your morality.
Oh.
So there is ways to go up and down. And then, of course, if they're equal, if you have 5 conflict and you roll a 5 on the die, then nothing happens to your morality. So
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, so it's a seesaw back and forth. Just know that there are some things. It's not just do you choose to kill this thing. It's do you choose to lie in a way that might be harmful. Do you choose to ignore somebody in need? Those types of things will affect your conflict.
Okay.
All right. At the
I can dig it.
moment, it'll be a bit, I hope, before you have to go into some of the larger consequences of the morality system, because it just depends on if you drop below or above one of the thresholds. But those are a bit of ways because you're sitting at 50. But
Okay.
I will kind of glance at your sheet between sessions, double check where you are, and if we need to have a conversation, we'll have a conversation.
Fair.
Okay.
Cool.
So there. That's there. What was wrong with your fucking computer?
So it was, you know that, were you there for the time that I was using Discord and it would just do the thing where it signs me in forever and it just doesn't connect? It's like constantly connecting, and then I fixed it I had fixed it once by going into a web browser and jumping in that way. That issue. I don't know what it is. I was trying to look up ways to get around it. I thought about using my phone, and then I was like, not no.
Not
It's too
crusty,
crusty.
Joe.
I don't have. I can't use my headset with my phone because it would be, and I'd be on mega crusty mic.
Do you need to just like delete the app and re-download it?
That's what I did.
Okay.
I just like clean slate redid everything, and I was like, fucking screw it.
Yeah, today's just been the day of technical issues. Kira had technical issues when she joined in too, so.
So it goes.
Okay. Also, did you appreciate me recruiting Piper to annoy the fuck out of you?
Yes. As in, I definitely got 30 messages in 30 seconds. If that's what you mean by appreciated it.
Doesn't it just make you feel loved?
Really just doing God's work.
It's like, I was like, okay, I need to start DMing Joe. And then I first sent like the one or two, and I'm like, he's not responding. And I looked at chat, I'm like, oh yeah, Piper's here. And if Piper doesn't work, then I was going to recruit Jen next.
If you know that if I'm starting to send you messages, it's the last straw.
The last straw.
Yep. You know you fucked up.
Eventually, we would have had the entire group here just like, Joe, where the fuck are you? Joe, where the fuck are you?
Joe, Bill.
Because
Joe Nye, the science guy.
I saw you typing in the other Discord.
Yeah, I
Actively
left text. I left text there. So I've been trying to. I'm so upset. I had a really good doc reply written up, and I had it sitting in my phone, and I like while I was at work, I was like, I'll work on it little by little, and then I guess like the app updated, and it just killed my like 3-paragraph typed response,
Oh,
and I
no.
was
Oh,
I
Jesus
was
Christ.
so upset, and I was like, you know what? Fine, sure, I can't recapture the magic, but I'll just write it again. And then I wrote it on this computer, which, as I had left. This was yesterday. I had written it on this computer, which I had left on overnight, and it updated, and it deleted it again. And I was like, wow, God has decided to not today. And so I wrote it in Discord again today, and I was like, great, I'm gonna hit enter on it once I get to a place where it's done, and it's still not done yet, and I have been living in dread because I'm like, man, really hope it doesn't delete it for a third time because I will cry.
Copy it and paste it into a fucking Google Drive, my dude.
But it could just be in Discord.
Google
Discord-
Drive saves your sanity.
Yeah, it will save it for you, and therefore you won't
And then
lose
you
it.
can access it from any of your devices. Because Google.
Rules everyone.
Yeah, but I'd have to put it in an organized place, and then I have to think about the storage.
No, you
I have a roleplay folder. I have a roleplay
don't.
folder, and I have a writing folder.
You just have to make a new fucking document, save it on there, and as soon as you're done, just delete it. You don't have to organize it. Just be the first thing there.
No, but I'm so anal about it.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Well, yeah. I was born this way.
Okay, so I know
Also,
that...
huh?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say also, are the horrifying like monster noises supposed to be part of the ambiance?
Yeah, that's all the weird ass alien noises you get in the background from this town.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
See, the quote-unquote horrifying alien noises are like everyday streets in Star Wars. You don't know
Oh,
what
that's a
kind of
good point.
noises you're gonna have. There's people that actively speak fucking Wookiee.
Oh, God, dude. That's the only thing I'm thinking about doing with Kane. Like aside from turning, like rearranging some of his stats, I kind of like the way he's kind of panning out. But the biggest competition Kane has in my heart is Wookiee. Just because I can be an absolute fucking gorilla, and like Galatea's like Galatea wouldn't call me fuzzball if I played a Wookiee. I just know this. I know this because Galatea is spiteful.
Is this true, Piper?
She's not here to defend herself, so it is true.
Piper! Okay. So I know there's a Jin here, correct?
Yeah, I'm here.
And there's a Kira here.
Indeed.
Like nightly.
And is there an Indian here? Doesn't seem like it. So we're waiting on Ambien and Piper.
I'm here.
Ah, there he is.
I've been summoned.
I was just seeing who was back and who wasn't.
I've been summoned. Call me by my name 3 times.
Oh, per Iris Joe, would you rather be anal about a Google Doc or retrying shit 20 times?
I don't. I'm so lazy, and Discord saves it, and it usually is really good. And just these 3 times it wasn't, and it's fine now because it's typed out. And yeah, I didn't save it, but it's still good because nothing's bad is going to happen this time.
I just want to be witness to like the mental breakdown that you will have if it does something does happen to it one more time.
No. No, you're not allowed to be there.
Is Piper back?
I've been here.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started again. You all are regrouping kind of outside the landing bay, and sharing information and figuring out what your next steps are.
Oh boy.
So, did we. Was the consensus that it's likely that the boss is off planet?
Nobody's seen their boss in all the years that guy has been working there, which
So
I
we
think
shoot up
is
the hut,
significant.
right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we. I don't know if we should shoot up the hut. Although it feels like the more overthrowing, corrupt officials thing is to shoot the hut, but it also feels as if I don't know. I feel like shooting down planes that were going to talk to the hut is a little much from the brood. Tiny bit.
Well, it's that nothing at this point.
But if we. But the thing is, it will take a while for, like, things to get back up and running if there's, like, a, ruling shift.
Oh, question. Has anybody actually ever seen this boss guy? Like, at all? Have him and Timo ever met face to face?
Ain't nobody's seen him.
Doubtful. I doubt they would have met face to face.
Well, why don't we jimmy up a fake then?
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
I occasionally
You're right.
have
It's a
those
terrible
moments.
idea.
You think it's a terrible idea?
How do you plan on faking one?
Well, it's just
Wait,
like a
what-
robot, right?
Well, I suppose it is a robot, but there is more nuance to it than that, is there not?
How
I
do
mean,
we
no.
prove? either way.
That is exactly what I was thinking, is if we don't have a way to verifiably prove it, then all they have to go on is our word, which is not good. It's not good. Our word isn't good. Not to them.
But even if we did find the boss, like, we need proof anyway.
The only way to really prove it would be if the attack stopped, and given that this is a small guerrilla kind of outfit, I'm not sure they would. Sometimes you cut the head off and a new one springs up.
Perfectly
Well,
true.
how about we start a war between the two of them?
How would
You're
you
If
trying.
propose to start a war?
we take one of their guns and shoot somebody else, and then we take one of their guns and shoot back in return, and
They're
then before
already.
you know it,
They've already been doing this.
we escalate it.
Okay, but how do you escalate it if they've already been shooting each other?
I'll
Is
find
it
one of
is
their
it just
warehouses.
shooting them with a bigger gun?
I like the way you're thinking, first of all.
I'm being sarcastic.
They've already shot down the ship.
How about we go find one of their warehouses and blow them to bits? That'll get their attention. And then while they're fighting, we take the opportunity. We go shoot up the hut.
I
I'm
won't.
curious as to who that ship was going to be going to.
The ship. How about we crash their ship into the palace?
We
Do you
don't
think
know.
that would sell that they're at war rather than just someone took their ship and crashed it? Do you think they'd be like absolutely mad enough to steer their ship directly into a building and kill everyone on board, including themselves?
Yes.
Gang, these groups tend to have a lot more self-preservation than that.
And also, how do
Huh.
we get to their ship? How do we know what ship is theirs?
I would, in Galatea's defense, I would actually say it's quite easy to figure out which ship is theirs because there are only a handful of ships that will have armed security personnel standing outside of them at all times, and if they're not wearing a uniform,
But
we're in the right
I
place.
don't think they're in this town. I think their ship might not be on planet.
Look, for a bunch of
Oh,
naysayers,
this
you guys ain't giving the other ideas.
This does
So let's.
smack of does this does smack of foreign interference. If it's foreign interference and we can find out exactly who it is that's interfering here, then maybe we could get somewhere. But we would need time to do that now, wouldn't we? And we
We
don't
don't got
got that.
time.
I don't
Wait,
want
the ship that just landed.
Huh. What about it?
I don't know. We're looking for a ship.
go on. Waiting on bated breath.
Do we want to check it? Check it out? Do we?
A new one?
Yeah.
You know what? Why not?
Or are we gonna? Or they mentioned that going around to mechanic shops.
Yeah, we could do that too. Maybe figure out if we get even a small lead on who these people are, then maybe we can make a better decision. But right now, without knowing what the brood are packing and haven't seen what the hut is packing, I don't want to go into that palace without that head.
There is always just the lead work really quick on our hyperdrive and jump planet.
We could just leave. But Doc's got a point.
We can't just leave. We can't just leave. I was given an assignment. I gotta carry the assignment through. Otherwise, I am gonna get just so much flack for that. I don't want to deal with
Yep.
that.
Honestly,
They
this is
gave
one of
us
my
an
favorite ideas that
impossible-
Galata has ever
Hold on.
suggested.
Hold on a second, boss. Do you want to get flack or do you want to get killed?
I don't know. Between the two, it's a toss up, really.
I'm pretty sure Timo just gave us this task because he knows it's a suicide mission. Either we die trying or we don't get anywhere, and he kills us.
It's a win-win for the hut. You're right. Look,
Unless we shoot the hut. We're coming back to favorite idea here.
how are you gonna shoot the hut? Do you got a sniper scope?
I don't want to
We
shoot
can
the
probably
hut.
get one.
I don't want to shoot the hut, and without a way off planet quickly.
Okay, so we repair our ship. We get the engines running. We kill the hut. And we make a break for it.
I like how all of Galatea's flowcharts end up at kill the hut.
Yup.
All right. All right. How about we split up? Some of us go see what's up with that new ship. Some of us go hit up these mechanics, see if they can find anything about the Haxian brood from people closer to the ground, people who maybe deal with them.
What would you want us to sift for? Just anything we could possibly get?
Anything we can possibly get to give us an idea who these people are, how many of them there are. If we got better odds trying to figure out what's going on with them, if they don't even have a leader, then are we on a wild goose chase or something? I can't even get a meeting with nobody.
Where the hell they are?
Where the hell they are? That's also a good question. Good thinking.
And tonight we'll repair the ship, or start.
Yeah, whoever goes to talk to the mechanics, you got talking about the hyperdrive repair is a good cover.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do need to build the other part of it.
Mhm.
So we do need parts.
I'll
So,
go search for a sniper scope.
That wasn't part of the splitting up, man.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt though, would it?
Or your giant ass gun, will that do anything?
Increase the range on it, wouldn't it?
Well, the scope itself wouldn't increase the range. It would just let you see further.
I mean, it can't hurt though, can it?
It certainly would. It would hurt someone quite a lot, actually.
That's kind of the point. though. So far, we good.
No, I understand. It's definitely doing exactly what you intended to do.
What if we get a fake head and we rig it to explode and we give it to the hut?
You know, honestly, I wish we would have kept some of the heads from those fellas back at the ship. Could have came in handy for this.
Excuse me?
The guards, I mean, not the organics, the guards.
I mean, I can go up there and rough one of the gods up real quick.
We don't have to resort to just murdering random guards. Like, I'm not opposed to the death of any in particular criminal syndicate member, but
If we're looking for a droid, like, we're going to shops and looking for parts for droids.
Mhm.
Cobble together a head. As a backup.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Wait.
like the sound of that.
I'm starting to get. I'm getting on board with this.
Kane is
I'm
going
on
to
board
look
with
at
that.
Galatea, and he's going to put a hand to his chin and say, "Is it possible that you're still able to be awake and functional with your head off?"
I don't know. Technically, you're still bleeding from your 28 million holes that you got. So, might want to rethink that.
I mean, we could unplug your head and then give you to them
We're not
and use
doing
you
that.
like a spy cam.
We're not doing that. Gal's head is staying right where it is. Don't you go looking at her
She
like
could
that.
be free subterfuge with
If you
no
want
exception.
if you want a droid head that then can be used to spy on them, we can build one.
We have one right here, and he gestures to Galatea.
No, we're listening to the expert here. Gal's head is staying where it
They've
is.
seen Gal's head.
Yes.
They know Gal's head real
They
good.
know that it's just Gal's head and not the head they're supposed to get.
It's
Well,
two
that's-
droids in a trench coat.
Take the head off. Then they won't know.
They've seen her.
Do you think
They
she would
want-
ever be without her hat? Absolutely
They-
not. Take the head off, and they won't know.
We are not giving them Gal's head. We're not doing it. We're just not doing it.
I figured of everyone you would be more supportive of this, and he looks at Galatea. This is very Maverick. This is exactly the type of thing that you would love to do.
Well, I prefer being able to shoot and see where I'm shooting, which I can't do if my head's not attached to my head.
No, I've seen droids move their bodies without being attached to them. You could probably still
I
shoot.
mean, I can move my body, sure, but I wouldn't.
Yeah,
be
so
able
you
to
can
drop
shoot
the
and you
air.
can still move.
But Gal could end up just shooting us instead.
That's exactly.
Well, no, your eyes are open, so you'll just aim.
Okay, but what if somebody turns my head around, genius?
Well, then don't shoot. I'm not sure what to
This is
tell
why we
you.
call-
I think this plan
This
is
is why we
perfect.
call you fuzzball.
Alright,
No,
who
that
wants
doesn't
to go
make
to
any
the
sense.
mechanic shop with me? Start getting parts. Asking questions.
I'll help you shop for parts.
Okay. We'll send the Three Stooges off together.
I take
How dare
offense
you.
to that.
Stooges? Who you calling a stooge?
Okay.
The peanut gallery.
Right, so Marcy and Risha are going to go look for droid parts at shops. And the peanut gallery is going where?
We're going to check out the fancy new ship and see if we can find anything out about it.
Please, God, don't let that stick.
Okay, so, let's see, how do I want to do this? Oh, that's not what I want.
Oh,
Click the wrong button. This one. Evens, we start with the Risha Marcy group. Odds, we start with the Peanut Gallery. Starting with the Peanut Gallery.
Oh boy.
There's no God.
So you guys are
Good
heading
thing about this.
off to check out the ship that was at the top of the crater. It was from what Risha and Marcy told y'all. It's a kind of standard, slightly older cargo ship. And because the landing bays were full, they're guessing that that's why it had to land up at top. So it's essentially right up here, sitting overlooking the crater. And in order to make your way up there, you'll have to climb the stairs along the side of the crater to get close to it. Or you can try going somewhere else and talking to other people to see if they know anything about it, or what exactly are you wanting to do?
I think we should just give it an ocular pat down, firstly. And then afterward maybe just talk to the people who are, around it, see what the deal is.
Okay. So, you all start your trek up the stairs that are kind of carved into the side of the canyon. And again, it takes a while. You're climbing and climbing and climbing, and it's now midday. And so it's hot. And like all the moisture that was in the air is completely gone now. It's just oppressive at this point. And as you get higher and higher and higher, and you're less protected by the canyon, it just gets more and more hot.
I hate
And eventually you kind of pop out over the top of the canyon and take a look around, and you see off to one side the top of the landing bay where your ship is, and a little bit further along the edge of the crater, Timo's palace. And you turn around, And behind you, good 200 yards off, is the cargo ship. As you are all kind of being able to see it a little bit more clearly from where you're at, a little bit more up close and personal, it is probably a good decade old or so. It is pretty well maintained, all said. Um, you can see where it's been patched up and repaired at various points, but it seems like most of the repair jobs were either done by very, very skilled mechanics or there was a decent amount of credit put into the tools and materials used for the repair jobs. So it's seen better days, but it's also one of those like old cars that you look at. It's like, yeah, that thing is still gonna run for another 50 years as long as they keep it up this well. Um, Underneath it, you see a couple of the droids that are very clearly Mosheta droids running around with some various tools and ship pieces and wiring, seeming to be trying to help. Amongst them, you see two astromechs that look that are very clearly don't belong here, but look very distinctly different. One is practically ancient, is rusted over in various parts. Part of its kind of top dome has been rusted into a hole, so you can see some of the inner workings. But it seems to be rolling around and beeping at, kind of chasing some of these spaceport droids and seeming to kind of control the situation, kind of bossing them around. And kind of rolling in a circle around the ship, almost like a perimeter, is a like bright fuchsia purple, completely astromech that's probably about 5 or 6 years old at this point. And it is just beeping constantly, like it is talking nonstop, with no filter or no care in the world. And it's just, you can see in the sand the track it has dug into the sand by rolling in the circle nonstop. And you see the kind of ramp to the ship down open, and you can hear clattering as you get closer from inside as well. That's all the activity that you see outside.
Al,
So
what are
what's
your professional thoughts on this?
Professional thoughts.
Yeah, as a professional droid.
I'd say we're pretty fucked, honestly.
I I honestly expected that you would say we're going to shoot them.
I mean, we're still gonna shoot them, but we're gonna get
Okay.
fucked up.
So you think we should leave it here, not approach them?
Do they look friendly to you, boss?
I mean, that one's fuchsia. Fuchsia's a friendly color.
Is it?
I'm actually with Buzzball on this one. Fuchsia's more of a, like, royal stick in the mud kind of.
I think it can be fun. You can get party dresses in fuchsia.
I don't think that dissuades me from my point, boss.
You're right, though. They do look a little, tense, don't they?
I mean, we can try and sneak around. Find another way. I mean, I have the stealth skill of a fuzzball that's good at talking, but
You got the stealth
What?
skill of a fuzzball that's good at talking. I
Yep.
got the stealth skill of a droid with a large gun. I don't think sneaking's gonna get us nowhere. Hmm.
Well, I got these electro snares that we can use.
I mean, that's just gonna draw attention, though, ain't it?
I mean, no matter what we
Is
gonna
it?
do, it's gonna draw attention.
That's another thing, is if we're going to try sneaking, are we going to try not sneaking and just getting straight to the point, I suppose?
I say we set our electro snares down, and then we make like a ruckus to lure them over here, and then they get electro snared.
I was just looking to get a handle on what these fellas were up to. Not start a fight.
Do you
We
know
find
that
out
you
what-
brought Galatea, right?
To be fair, the groups.
Go on. I
We're
fucking. Kane's just like, oh, to be fair, what? What, boss? Crosses his arms. Just looks at you like, hmm? Yeah? To be fair, you brought Galatea not expecting a fight because.
I don't go nowhere without my medical droid. I've had plenty of nice times with Gal.
She is barely a doctor.
Fired. Nary a shot. It was that time we went to the movies.
And Galatea,
And-
did you not start a fight in the movie theater?
They started the fight with me actually, because they were like, "No droids allowed." I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna watch the movie." They're like, "You can't watch the movie." I'm not going to watch the movie. It's not as bad as that one time with the anarchist and the oyster, though.
Ugh. Just the smell of those things makes me nauseous these days. Look, I don't know if we can handle a full-on altercation here, especially if it turns out that these guys, they got droids leading people here, droids leading droids. If these guys are brood, we don't want to mess with them right now. Not without everybody. I say, if anything, we ask the dock workers what they know about these folks. We don't engage directly.
I agree with your assessment. But I'm not sure we have anything. What would our plan be if we were all here? Would it just be to fight them?
No, then we try to sneak in.
You think
Marcy's
that
really good
more
at sneaking.
people- Okay, but we ain't though.
Yeah, but we can make it. We can make the diversion. We can do the snare thing then.
So our division is that we're going to fight them.
No, not right now. Not right now. But if we had everybody,
Your
theoretically.
Galatea like checking her blaster, making sure it's loaded.
Not right now, Cal. We gotta get everybody back before we even think of attempting anything like that.
One of you three rolled me a d20.
I got this.
Oh yeah, lucky number 13.
Alright, so as you guys are bickering in the Mayad wide open because there's nothing to guard y'all up here at the top of the crater, you hear kind of a big bang clatter of like shit falling in the ship. My screen just went back. Give me a second.
Did you do that, Fuzzball? Did you do it with your mind powers?
I don't have mind powers.
Thought
You
had
do
mind
use your
powers.
mind for it, don't you?
It's not that simple.
Alright. So you hear this giant, like, bang clatter of shit falling within the ship, and you just hear a string of curse words about 10 different languages. And with that cursing, it's a distinctly female voice. You see the kind of rusted over astromech pause and kind of turn, and the fuchsia one does an immediate spin around and goes rushing back towards the docking or the ramp, And as soon as it starts to roll up the ramp, you just hear, no, you get back down. And you see stepping out down the ramp, a figure. It is a female with essentially almost pure white skin, white hair, and golden eyes that are fairly clearly unnatural in some form or fashion. Wearing a very long, all of it is various shades of brown and black. Duster jacket and some heavy duty clothing and boots underneath, with gloves on. And I want Galatea and Kane to both roll either Underworld or Xenology intelligence knowledge checks at 3 purple.
Underworld
Okay.
or Xenology. Okay.
Mhm.
What is it? 3 purple, you said?
Yes.
Thurple. I'll try Underworld if you fuck it.
I have Xenology, so.
Okay.
Cool.
Galatea, let me make sure I am saying this right. Both ends. All right. So, Kane, as you're kind of watching this figure come down, you are familiar enough kind of with the ways of the underworld and battle and kind of equipment for it that just by seeing kind of the movement of the clothing, even though it looks to be just kind of heavy duty leather style clothing and duster, the movement of it is just often enough that you know that this is armored somehow. That this is not just a plain, leather jacket. It is designed to be protective in some form or fashion. How protective? You're not 100% certain, but this is, you already get the impression this is somebody that fights.
Okay.
Galatea, you are familiar enough with the xenology and the various kind of species across the galaxy that you kind of focus in on this person, look them head to toe and back again. And this is very clearly to you an Arcanian or an Arcanian offshoot. And Arcanians are, just for those of you that have never heard of them before, are a near human species from the colonies. And they are mainline Arcanians are known to be extremely intelligent and extremely good at science and technology. And they're most notorious and infamous for having created the Arcanian offshoots, which are clones designed to be slaves.
Hmm.
We got some smart people here.
So the Arcanians are known to be extremely intelligent. The Arcanian offshoots have the intelligence, but they are mixed with just enough other DNA and other genetics from other species that they are kind of custom made. They need a Arcanian slave that is strong, then they will find genetics to mix in to make them strong, make them more durable, make them whatever. So you can't see by just looking at them what they're designed for, but Arcanian offshoots are hand designed for something at some point.
Oh, that's concerning.
is concerning, but Arcanians are interesting.
Mm.
They're terrible
Arcani-
people.
Arcanians and Arcanian offshoots are some of my favorite races in
Really
in
cool.
the system.
I kind of want to talk to her just because she's one of them, even though I don't think it's a very good idea. I feel like hanging back and asking, the more day-to-day workers is probably the smarter thing to do here than directly engaging. But man, Arcanians are cool.
And as she walks down the ramp and hits the ground, you see her shooing off the fuchsia colored astromech, and she kind of stands at the bottom, kind of angled away from you, three, um, and just crosses her arms and seems to be having a conversation of some sort with the two astromechs, as the rest of the kind of dock worker droids are scurrying around and continuing to do what they were doing.
Oh, it's so good to see a woman in charge. All right, look, we if we get in there, it's gonna be a mess. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's better if we just back off for now. It's better if we just back off.
That'd be wasting our time, boss. We took all this time to climb up here for nothing.
It's good exercise. Besides,
Boss,
we
we
won't.
don't need exercise.
I need exercise. If I want to
Eh,
eat what I want to eat, I need exercise.
Okay, well, fair point, but there's
Say
other things.
for Timo, and that way, if you fuck up, they get mad at Timo.
That's not entirely a bad idea. Hmm. All right, so do we want to approach acting like we're working with Timo then and see how that goes?
Well,
You gotta say we work directly under Timo.
is there is there a way I could like try to recall if there was any sort of insignia or some shit that Timo lackeys wore?
I mean, yeah, there would be a couple of things you've seen around town that you assume are either Timo's mark or like a mark for the town.
Hmm. Okay, well, I'm going to. Kane is going to look and say, "We'd have to figure out a way to fake their insignia. Nobody will believe anything related to Timo unless we have the insignia or symbol or something denoting that we are part of his group. Part of the brand that he's trying to establish here is a strong presence. There's no way he would have lackeys walking around without a symbol on them to broadcast his force.
When newcomers know that, though.
That's the thing,
Besides,
is he would want the newcomers to know who he is. There's likely bound to be symbols somewhere.
besides, if we're working directly under Timo, maybe we're high up enough that we presume everybody knows us already.
And what happens when they don't know us?
We run.
Okay. I'm going to prepare myself to run, and I will follow your leads.
You're such a team player, Fuzzball.
We appreciate you.
Just, I imagine we're like walking away now, and Kane just lingers for a second, and as we start to walk, he pulls out his lightsaber and like puts it to his forehead. And he goes, "Not today."
So are you guys approaching this woman, or are you going back down, or?
The plan was to approach the woman as if we're
Okay.
Timo's
Mm-hmm.
subordinates.
Okay. So you start getting closer and closer to this ship. And you get about a good 75-ish yards off, and the fuchsia colored astromech spots you first. and you just hear this loud whistle. And you see the astromech spin for a second, and then it just comes right towards you. Does it have anything like out as if threatening? It just is coming for you guys as fast as it can, just beeping and beeping and beeping. And as it speeds towards you, the woman kind of turns half step, watches where it's going, sees the rest of you, and turns fully towards y'all, and walks kind of a couple steps closer, but she stays in the shade of her ship, arms crossed, just kind of hip cocked to one side by the time she stops and stands there and just watches and waits. And the rust-colored, or the rusted astromech just rolls up to her side and seems to be watching as this fuchsia one essentially flies up to you and starts circling the three of you as if hurting you. And Galatea, since you are essentially fluid in all things droid, or fluent in all things droid, it is just essentially, it seems like this is a busted astromech that does not have any filter on what goes through its processor to its mouth.
Oh God.
It's like a pet. It's an excited pet.
Essentially, yes, it's like new people. There's three, and they all look different. Like this one's a droid, this one's a droid, this is a really tall droid. Oh my god, it's a really that's a big gun. Oh my god, this one's green. What's this one doing? And it's just nonstop as it's kind of hurting the three of you closer.
Excited, ain't we?
As it's hurting Kane, you can hear it ask, Do you think I look like something called Fuzzball?
Fuzzball. What? There's. I mean, two of you have hair. I guess that's Fuzz. Is that Fuzz? I don't know if that's.
No,
Fuzz.
it's not. It's not Fuzz.
But he acts like a fuzzball. Don't you think he acts like a fuzzball?
Quiet.
Spiritually, he's covered in fuzz.
Quiet.
Who are you telling to be quiet?
I'm telling you to be quiet.
I keep telling you, the fuzz is on the inside of your brain.
You. Oh, I hate everything about this.
Okay, and so the three of you are kind of getting slowly pushed closer and closer by this droid. As you guys get closer, I want all of you to make perception checks with 3 purple.
3 purple, okay. Perception.
Damn it.
Okay, notices jack shit. You all notice jack shit. Cool.
This is why we're the peanut gallery.
You guys need Marcy and Risha to fucking babysit all of you. If he's the boss, Marcy and Risha are the babysitters.
I think we're doing wonderful. I don't know where this is coming from.
So you all step closer, and eventually, when you're kind of within more reasonable speaking distance, the woman stands a little bit straighter, and as you've gotten closer, you can see that she is again the standard pale Arcanian, and she is wearing very dark makeup, one with the upper lip colored, and then essentially all around her eyes colored, which just makes the yellow eyes pop even more. And very short, kind of bobbed business hairstyle. And she seems to kind of take all three of you in head to toe very carefully. And then there's just an arch of a brow. And as she shifts, you do see that there is at least one blaster on her hip. That is much like everything else that seems to be here of older model, probably augmented in some fashion. that seems to be kind of taken care of before it disappears back under her duster as she shifts her weight. And she just kind of looks between all of you, sees that Iffy's kind of towards the front of the group, so focuses on Iffy. And you just hear this very kind of slow, very calm. And what exactly are you doing here?
So cool. Goddamn.
I'm gonna push Iffy forward, just like, go on.
I will glare at him for doing so.
Shrug,
Huron,
just like, what do you want me to do about it?
we could flip you off, I might. Here on behalf of Timo the Hut,
Fucking, I already paid his fees. Tell him to fuck
Yep.
off.
well, you know how it is with huts. You pay the first few sets of fees, but we also got to do a little inspection just to make sure, nothing's coming here that Timo don't approve of.
Look, my ship's been up here all damn day. All I need is my fuel and I'm gonna be off.
Be that as it may, I'm sure you know what the situation is down here. The tension. Timo's just a little jumpy lately.
And then there's just an arch of the brow again. In silence.
We'll be out of your hair 5-10 minutes. I'm sure it's just a formality.
She looks between the three of you again. And just rolls her eyes. How much?
Suffering to bribe us?
You're aware enough of the underworld that that would be probably what would be assumed to happen at a hut port.
I figure. Uh, just smile. Unfortunately, with the way Timo's temper is right now, it'd have to be a lot.
200 credits and leave me alone. I'm here for 3 more hours.
200 credits compared to my neck on a platter? All their necks on a platter? You seen this droid?
3.
I tip
That's
my
the best you
fedora.
get.
Man,
Either we're taking a look around in there or Timo's gonna hear about this.
I don't give a damn if he hears about it.
I think we should just take the 300 if she's gonna be
I
out of
think-
hair regardless.
I think so. I think that's a good option. All right. I'll take you 300. Anything you want me to let him know?
Leave me the fuck alone. And she reaches in, and as she's kind of reaching down past to get to her credit pouch under her duster, she lifts the duster, and you see that one blaster was not the only one. And there are about 3 that you can see on one side alone, and a couple of weapons on the leg.
God damn! You expecting trouble?
And she
What?
just kind of looks up towards you.
Oh god, Kane wants to fucking facepalm so bad.
And just,
We're the trouble!
We're the trouble. We're the trouble, boss.
There's this, like, again, kind of slow calculating head to toe. Roll me a cool with 4 purple.
Oh,
If you almost got away
God.
with it.
It's just, I was thinking, like,
We were-
other trouble!
we were
Other
clear.
trouble!
We
Other
were
trouble!
clear.
What else? If he has control of the town, what other trouble is there?
I don't know, maybe she, like, tangled with something on the way here. Maybe I'm just trying to find out more about her! God!
We were clear.
Oh
I've
my
always
god.
assumed this was like an elaborate thing of you thinking that she's really pretty and just
Yeah, this is Iffy being overwhelmed by another girl boss. That's what this is.
God damn it, Iffy. Stop flirting with every hot girl.
All right, all right, all right, all right. So it's cool with 4 purples, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is God damn it! Why? Okay, there we go. We got
Nope,
this. We
you
got
gotta
this.
roll one more.
Oh fuck! Sorry. I typed 4 into the thinger, and it's just blank. Ha!
Okay. So she kind of looks you over head to toe, and there's this very calculating look. Gal and Kane, since you two are not kind of pinned by this stare for a moment, you guys can also do another perception roll if you would like to try it.
No, thank you. I'd rather just save your time.
I would like to try. Is it with 3 purple?
Yes.
I'm.
I have 1 dice. I'm
You're
Ah!
seeing things. You're seeing some things.
You're seeing
I'm
some
pretty
things.
good at perception.
So you see as you're watching this person very intently, not exactly sure, because you've now clocked this person not only is prepared for a fight, but with that many weapons is used to it. And so you're a little bit more tense, a little bit more careful about watching them. And you see very clearly that the eyes expand and contract as they're looking up and down, and you peg that they are cybernetic in some form or fashion.
Oh shit.
And she looks over Iffy, and then just kind of... You see this little smirk for a second, where it goes back to kind of that bored indifference. When you're out this far in the galaxy, you always gotta be prepared for trouble, no?
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, look at the size of the gun my droid's got.
Your droid. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be Timo's droid.
No, I came into service with this one.
And she looks towards Galatea, and she's now kind of starting to... You can hear the clink of credits that she's just kind of by feel gathering up in one hand. She looks Galatea up and down, and there's still just that incessant beeping of the fuchsia robot that's still going in circles around you three. But as she turns her attention towards Galatea, the rust one pipes up and just swears like a sailor, essentially, about how unimpressed he is by Galatea. Essentially, if you can imagine an old, grizzled, pissed off sailor in droid form.
Is this like Boomhauer talk, but it's all like, fuck that
Beep
droid.
up, beep 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 dang old beep up.
It's honestly, if you've seen Rebels, I imagine Chopper.
Oh god, Chopper.
Yeah, Chopper, but a little bit worse. Because you know Chopper's
worse?
cussing them out the entire time.
Worse than Chopper is a hell of a bar.
It doesn't move. It just looks at Galatea because now it sees that its owner is looking at Galatea and expresses how deeply unimpressed he is by Galatea.
But in like droid speak, right?
Yes. And then...
Can I fire back in droid speak? Have
So
a
you
verbal
just...
debate with this bastion.
So you just start beeping back at him?
Yep.
Sure. And so he just...
insult his mother, insult his creator, and then I can outrun his processing power 28 times so on.
The Scott Snyder promo, the entire
this-
Scott Snyder promo.
This droid does not seem phased at all, and this starts insulting how fast he's sure that you're gonna break, and you can't even handle a little bit of sand in your joints. And
I fire back how quickly I'm gonna shove this processor up its ass.
I don't know what's being
So-
had. I don't know what's being said, but I know it's not good.
the two of you just hear aggressive R2D2 back and forth.
Sarcastic Galatea beeps.
If he will casually, very casually and coolly lean against the hull of the ship, laugh, very good-natured fashion. It's kind of cute when they go on like that, ain't it?
And the pilot does seem mildly amused for a second, and then just shakes her head. It seems to be finishing counting the money, and holds out a hand to Iffy with 300 credits in it.
I will accept this these credits, and as I'm taking them, sort of pivot into a handshake there. Look, you look like a real clever type. If you ever need any side work, why don't you hit me up?
She will kind of freeze for a second when you take her hand, and then there's a shake, and as you are now looking at her hand, you see that there are 5 fingers instead of 4.
Interesting for an Arcanian.
And that it's either a very, very strong grip, or there is some sort of mechanics in this arm.
Well, boss, we gotta get back to the big boss, yeah?
Yeah, suppose we do. Damn shame though.
And you just hear this like non-committal little hum from the woman as she crosses her arms again, and is staring the 3 of you down again.
I'll see you around then. Wait, I don't think I caught your name.
Boss!
Never gave it.
Timo would know our name.
Like whispering.
And
Oh, God.
I push Effie out the door. She's come on, let's go.
she you see this woman's head tilt as you start to go, and there's just a little smirk. The name's Shiska, Ambassador. And she turns and heads up the ramp, and that's where we're gonna end it for tonight.
Boss, as your bodyguard, I feel like I need to tell you that you're being kind of dumb right now.
Kane is. We walk out, and Kane is just like, "That was the worst. That was quite possibly one of the worst things."
What are you talking about? That went great. I got a name.
Boss,
What do we give a shit about her name?
What do you mean? Do we give a shit about a name? Have you
honestly,
seen
the
her?
name? The name
Yes!
means rather.
Yes, I
because
saw
we know
her.
she's an ambassador, so that we can trace that. But boss, you're bad at pretending to be somebody's henchman.
No,
Look,
wait. She was saying ambassador to the
To-
boss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look.
Oh,
She
okay.
knows.
Yeah,
She
she's like,
knows-
yeah, good evening, ambassador. Is like, she
Okay.
fucking called your ass out. Now we know some random bitch name, and she knows exactly some shit about us.
Look. The way I see it, that's a win-win. She knows who I am. I know who she is. That means we're guaranteed to run into each other again. That's a win-win.
That's
This is-
even worse.
This is
is
a girl
even
boss
worse.
crush in the making. That's what this
Yep.
is.